Welcome back, everyone. I am so excited about my next guest that has been on with me. I don't know. We've been trying to figure it out for the longest time. How long you've been with me? Roland Bennett.
Carol, you just had a 10-year birthday party of this show. Right?
A couple years ago. Right.
And
you were at my 5-year, too?
I was at the 5-year. I think we have at least a 10-year anniversary coming on your show.
At least. Well, happy anniversary for being on my show.
For all of those listeners and the people that walk around, and there's thousands of them, people walking around Phoenix going, oh, my gosh, I talked to Carol Blonder. I want to do the Carol Blonder show. I'm not sure if I should do the Carol Blonder show. I'm here to tell you, you do the Carol Blonder show because the number one show in the Valley happens from 3 to 5 on Tuesdays and Fridays. Am I right?
I love it. It's
and
Networking
it's been going
Arizona.
on for 10 years. It's Networking Arizona. It's all about networking.
12 years, August 7th. Next.
It's just so wonderful. It's so great to see you. You know, it's warm out there.
It's
August.
And you
I love
made it in on your own. Nobody else is with you?
And I was here 10 minutes early. It's the new me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that for me.
Well, thank you for doing that for me.
For everybody. So listen, tell everybody you have been with People's Mortgage for the longest time.
I've been licensed at People's Mortgage for a long time, for like 12 years. I've been with the guys over there. But been doing loans now. Get this. Are you ready for this? This October is going to be my 17th year anniversary of being a residential loan originator.
But there's something that makes you different. And I want them to understand you are a dollar money man. You are a numbers man.
I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
So when I was in college, I was a double major in mathematics and creative writing. And there's no career that better fits that than mortgage loan origination, because it gets crazy out there. You know, it's nuts. So I changed my Instagram name to Roland Bennett Loans. So you can find me on Instagram at Roland Bennett Loans. And I don't post anything about much. I just put a picture of a mountain on there. It's really beautiful. You should check it out. Really starting to try to get my Instagram up. I just shut down my MySpace page. And I heard about this I heard about this awesome new platform called Facebook.
Yeah.
And so I got onto that and I posted KFNX. I don't know if you saw it. I got 5 thumbs ups on it.
Already?
Yes.
You see that? Yeah,
I did that yesterday. I got 5 likes on it.
Just because you're going to be on my show.
Right.
Yay.
Yes.
We're live on Facebook right now. So hi to everybody out there. You can tell them.
What's up, Facebook? That's fantastic. You got to go to you just Google Roland Bennett. Yeah. Go to Facebook or KFNX.
And just go to Roland Bennett and check out, or just watch him here, and we will go ahead and get everybody to go over to your website.
Absolutely, and I promise you, just as much entertainment on my Facebook page as you will get watching the Trump rally in New Hampshire last night. I don't know how many people tuned in. They used to put that on national network television, but if you go back and watch it, you'll realize, oh, wait a minute, we're a conservative. Yeah, yes, it was actually very, very educational. Looks like we're buying Greenland.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
I mean, I'd love to get that mortgage. You know, that'll be a good piece of volume. But let's talk about something important.
I was going to say greenery.
Yeah, we got to talk about something important.
I do.
My cell number is 602-513-3686. I answer all text messages and phone calls. I return phone calls between the hours of midnight and 3 in the morning. That's when I return all my phone calls, and I answer to all text. No, I'm joking. You're looking at me like, yeah. That was terrible.
No, tell everybody the truth.
You need like a laugh track on that one. There's no laugh track there.
When they put up the sign to clap.
Here's the truth. What the heck is going on with the interest rates?
You want to tell everybody what's going on. Because today when you were going to come in here, you said, Carol, a lot of people have a lot of questions about some different things.
I'm getting bombarded.
What the heck is going on?
Well, what's going on is the bond market is going crazy. And what that means is the 10-year yield. So in the bond market, when money flows into bonds, the yields come down. And specifically, the 10-year Treasury yield is what's tied to long-term interest rates on mortgages. So that's not, though, the interest rate, that's the Fed rate. Did you hear a couple of weeks ago at the end of July? They're like, oh, Feds dropped the rates.
Right.
So when the Feds drop the rates, that's not they're dropping mortgage rates. That's not what that is. They're dropping the overnight lending rates to businesses, and that's, how businesses borrow from the Federal Reserve. They drop that rate. Now, yes, that sometimes ends up trickling into long-term mortgage rates, but it's not directly tied to that. What's directly tied to loan rates is the 10-year bond. And what funny thing happened here that happened this week for the first time since 2007 is the yield percentage on the 10-year Treasury dropped below the yield percentage on the 2-year.
What's that mean?
That means the bond yields are inverted from short-term to long-term. So typically 10-year rates are always more than the 2-year rates. Well, the 2-year rates now are higher than the 10-year rates, and what's scary about that is that it is the only times that this has ever happened in the history of them tracking bond rates is ahead of a recession. The last time we had an inverted bond rate was 2007, which we all know about the recession of 2008 that lasted into 12. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of that was because of the kooky stuff going on in the mortgage-backed security pool. And if you watch the movies Inside Job or The Big Short, you'll learn about everything that happened on that. It was the total house of cards. People were getting loans. They should not have been getting loans. Nobody was qualifying for anything. Literally a driver's license and a blank loan application, 100%, no money down purchase. And everybody got stuck with them. And then the values went through the roof. People were buying houses in 2006. And then the reason there was that recession in 2007 is because the subprime mortgage-backed security market dried up. Everybody shut down because somebody blew the whistle and said, this is all garbage. And then the banks all said, yep, yeah, we're right. Yeah, you're right. It's garbage. And then they all tucked their tails and ran. And it's the biggest fraudulent,
But we got hit by it pretty hard, and the people got hurt. It was the people that got hurt.
Well, because it was their homes.
Right. And that's huge. And how many states are you in?
Well, that's the good news now. The last time I came on your show, I only was licensed in 16 states. And now I'm in 21 states.
Wow.
I just picked up Maryland. So I was going to stop at 20, and then I got 21 states. So I'm going to get 4 more states so that I can
say 25.
Legally say half of the country, right? Because now I can only say I'm in almost half of the country. But I can say that I'm in the half of the country where people want to buy houses in.
Which is?
Well, I mean, you want to rattle off the states. It's awesome. And the entire western coast. I'm Oregon, Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Arizona. I go to Texas. I go up to Colorado. I bounce over to South Dakota. I got the entire Midwest with Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin. And then I now go down to Florida and Georgia and Virginia and Maryland.
So wait, I'm going to ask
you.
And
North Carolina.
Well, is that 21?
I think that's 21. I think I nailed them all.
So here's the thing, is that we have a lot of people that want to move here,
Absolutely.
Especially it's coming up to now. It's just, you started to feel it just a tiny bit. It's hot, but there's something in the air. Well, because it's almost going to be September.
What's funny is that
it's on our minds.
Absolutely. And what's bringing people to Arizona is actually what's not in the air. And that's no hurricanes and mudslides and
no earthquakes. I lost my house in an earthquake.
Yeah. You see what's going on in California? It's crazy.
I know.
I mean, the cliff just fell down in Dana Point and crushed like a bunch of beachgoers. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's nuts. I've been in Arizona for 18 years, and I have never seen a cliff crumble on beachgoers in Arizona. It's never happened. I've not yet been through a hurricane here.
Nor an earthquake. We had a little tiny bit of a feel of one.
We do get dust storms, and
hardly.
And we get heat. But we also build pools. It's funny. I'm swimming in the pool with my daughters, and it's 113 degrees, right? And you get out of the pool, and there's a little breeze, and it's like, I got goosebumps. I'm chilly. It's like people don't understand. It's like it's 112 degrees, and I'm cold. Oh, I guess you go north of 40 and you're done. All right, I got some really good stuff after the break. Do not turn that dial, Arizona. Don't turn the dial.
Our number here is 602-277-5369. You could check him out on his website, which is
RolandBennettLoans.com.
You can also text him. He always answers and calls back at 602-513-3686. He's a blast.
But traded it all if I gave it all.
So we are talking with Roland Bennett, and he is a blast. But Roland has been doing loans for 17 years.
17 years.
And you...
21 states.
21 states.
Carol, I got to be honest with you. You have a Keurig machine in your waiting room, and I don't know what you put in those single serve light roasts, but I feel like I was in that movie Turner and Hooch with Ben Stiller. You know,
but you know what? Every time you come on, we have a lot of fun. But you know,
I just get so excited when I'm in your office, Carol. That's the thing. I'm pumped up to be here.
But here's the thing. One thing that I know that you're all about, and you're into the most, is about helping people get loans, and you do things. And I wanted you to kind of walk through what somebody can expect, why they should call Roland Bennett to get their loans through.
Well, number one is I quarterback the deal the whole way through for people. So you call me up, hey, Roland, somebody gave me your card and, you know, blah, 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 and I need a loan, and can you help me out? I don't know what to do, or whatever the situation is. I'm the first person they call, and I'm the last person they talk to when they close the loan. And I know that's very different than the land of the banks, you know, when you go in and you sit down and the first person you talk to is not the same person you're talking to at the end, and very often not the person calling you up and saying, sorry, we can't do your loan. And those guys that I refer to, I like to call Johnny Cubicle. I'm not Johnny Cubicle. I'm not the guy that sits in the office and shows up at 8:30 and, you know, drops the keys and walks over to the water cooler and sits around and doesn't really care if the loan closes. I'm the guy that I work out of my own one-man office. And when I'm not in the office working on your loan, I am taking your call on the golf course. I'm very diligent about that because I truly believe that Bluetooth was created for the working golfer. But I want to walk you through what just happened. I had a client that called me. And they said, okay, here's the situation. Somebody gave me your number. They said you might be able to help. Bank of America just declined our loan. We're supposed to close in 2 weeks. This is a family from Arizona. They're moving to Vancouver, Washington. They just sold their house. Their U-Haul is packed. They're ready to go. They're emotionally tied to this place in Vancouver, Washington, with this gorgeous view of Mount Rainier, this whole, you know, the whole thing. And Bank of America calls them up. Some manager that they never talked to throughout the whole process says, we can't do your loan. The underwriter just gave the file back, and we no longer can close your loan. And they said, well, why? And they said, well, because the job that you have, that you've been on for the last 11 years, in January, since you left your base salary, your annual salary, and dropped down, quote unquote, to a part-time hourly, you know, wage, you need to now be on that part-time status for 2 full years before we will allow you to use any of that income to qualify for your loan. And so what happens is that debt to income ratio is something that screws up loans. It's all the times what happens. Either if you have a loan that goes south, it's because your debt to income ratio changes from the first person, Johnny Cubicle, put it down in your application, put it in, and then the underwriter says your debt to income ratio is different. That's the first thing that shuts a loan down. The second thing that shuts a loan down is something happens in credit, and you know you've missed a payment on your car, and all of a sudden you get the bell goes off, and we go, oh, what's that? Oh, you're late on your car. Now I got to pull a new credit. Your score goes down. You lose the loan. That doesn't happen very often, but the debt to income ratio thing happens all the time. So Bank of America does this. They say we can't do it. So I come in. And I pull their deal, and what I was able to do, because I know where the guidelines are on that. I just did a 7-month average from January to July of how much they've been making, and then wrote an explanation letter, put that through, and then we were able to use just the year-to-date average of when she's been on the part-time, because she's already had the job for 11 years. We got that through. The debt-to-income ratio worked. I got the loan into underwriting. I was able to get the automated underwriting approval to approve the house without getting an appraisal, so we didn't have to wait for the appraisal. And they ended up closing last week on the 9th of August, which was their original close of escrow date before being denied by Bank of America. So they're in the house. They're there. We shut it down in 2 weeks.
They appreciate you, but the reason why is that you're different. You're going to go the extra mile for everyone.
I will do I fight so hard for people because what I do is I'm like a method actor. You know, in Hollywood, you got the guys that they call method acting the person that submerges themselves into the role they're playing whenever the role they're playing. And, obviously with some of those movies out, that can be a bad thing. But I submerge myself into the life of the people that I'm working with. Like, what would I want somebody working on my loan to do? And how would I want this handled if I was the borrower, and what would I do if I was on the other side? And that's really what I try to do. That's how I try to approach lending, is what would I do if this was my sister's loan or if it was my own loan? And I'll do everything, and I'm transparent with the process. And that's the one thing that I think separates me as well, is I walk people through exactly what's going on. Here's the written guideline. Here's how it applies to you. This is exactly it. I'll email them the screenshot of the guidelines, send them the credit report, show them, here's what's going on. Here's what you need to do. And if you want to get into this house and buy this house, this is what you will have to pay off this card and pay this down, and be transparent with that. Where when you go to Wells Fargo or Chase, and I can't really name names, Bank of America, but especially, I need to be a little ambiguous on that, but especially Wells Fargo, they're the worst.
Let me ask you something. What is the biggest misconception in mortgage lending today?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions in mortgage lending today would have to be how much your down payment has to be on conventional mortgages. And a lot of people, and how long you have to be on a job. There's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines not buying a house because they don't have 20% down. And a lot of people, do you ever hear that? They're like, oh, I need 20% down. Well, I just funded a loan today for first-time home buyers on a conventional Fannie Mae loan with 3% down, with very limited mortgage insurance on this special little loan called the Fannie Mae Home Ready Loan, which is designed to help first-time home buyers save a lot of money on mortgage insurance. But you can get into 3% down, which is a 0.5% down less than the FHA loan. And most people, and you probably hear this all the time, is they'll come in, they'll go, they'll go talk to the banker guy, right? And the banker will go, oh, you're a first-time home buyer. You got to go FHA. Like, just automatically, they tell you that you have to, quote, go FHA. And that's a big misconception, is that if you're a first-time home buyer, you need to go FHA. FHA is not the best loan in the market. If you can't get a conventional loan, FHA is a great option, but it's not the first option. It's not the first. So that's what I'll do, is I'll say, okay, you want to buy a house. How much do you have to put down? Very limited money. That's fine. No problem. I will lay out every single option that you have, walk you through the math on those options to let you know, here's how the numbers work on this. Here's what the numbers look like on this. If you're planning on buying this house for 5 years, if it were me, I would, get into this loan. If it were, and people are like, well, what if I just put more down? Can I get my payment down? Well, you could, but a lot of the times the math doesn't work out to put more down. So I've taken people that want to put 20% down into 10% down because I just show them the math, and they decide that, the numbers don't make sense to do the whole 20 down.
And I think that's what makes you the difference, is that you're all about the numbers.
You got to do the math. You got to do the math, but then it's not about just the numbers. It's about how the numbers work and what they mean to you, because the numbers mean something else in every scenario to everybody else. And it's a tailored approach to the person, as if I were that person. How would I do the deal? How would I want the math to work for me? And that's how I, kind of approach it.
So we have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Oh, my goodness.
Okay. So I want you to go ahead and tell everybody how they can reach you, because you also have your new Instagram.
Yep.
You're excited about that?
It's my old Instagram, but I post fun stuff on there. If I only have 2 minutes, I got to say hello to my wife, Lori, my daughters, Catalina and Harper. I know when I come down here, they got the radio on. And if I just say Catalina and Harper's name, they just go crazy. And it is Catalina, like the island.
That's cool.
And Harper's like
Bazaar.
Harper's Bazaar. That's a good one. There's also Harper College in Chicago.
What else is there?
There's Harper's Ferry I think, somewhere in Washington, kind of by Canada. We were
are
just
you
there.
working at
Lake Rainier. Beautiful.
Do you work in that? Do you have are you licensed in that state?
Well, you better believe I am. And actually, not only that, but I met a realtor while we were on the trip in the San Juan Islands of North Seattle, over in the town of Friday Harbor, or north of Friday Harbor in Roche Harbor, which is the most beautiful place, and sat and talked to this agent. And I said, hey, do you got any tough deals, And he says, I do.
That's it.
And that's what it is.
Tell him right now,
I do
because leave
tough
him with
deals.
that.
602-513-3686. My bag is self-employed borrowers with complicated tax returns that have been turned down by the big banks.
There you go.
So
Perfect.
it doesn't matter. I got guys that have millions of dollars in the bank, but their tax returns are so jacked up they can't get a loan down at Wells Fargo. So you call me. I do the hard loans. I do the math. I know how to do the complicated stuff, and I love it.
Give him your phone number out again.
602-513-3686. Go to RolandBennettLoans.com. Go to Roland Bennett Loans on Instagram. Call the station. Find me on the road. Track me down. Keep your eyes on...